In this video, we're going to be setting up the animation montage for our shooting. So currently, the way we have it, we shoot, nothing happens. There's no recoil animation or anything. Well, we want to go ahead and just do a basic system to add that. So when we go back to the video where we imported our arms and animations, including the 1911, we were met with this animation for the arms, for firing, and this one for the 1911 for firing. So in order to make them kind of work together, first thing we're going to have to do is create the montage. So in our character, FPS, animations 1911, I'm going to create a new animation montage for the FPS arms skeleton. I'm going to call this one, let's see, let's do AM for animation montage underscore arms 1911 and open it up. Now, on the bottom right, if we go to Asset Browser, you'll see all of our animations. I'm going to drag the ADS fire out onto our graph right under default, like so. And we can see the animation play if we drag through the timeline, or if we just hit play. So there we have it. We do not currently have a firing from the hip animation, but when we do, we will incorporate it into this montage. And I'll show you what I mean. So previously, I've made a tutorial series on importing animations, first-person animations from Blender into Unreal Engine and setting them up to use them. And from there, we created a montage, and there is a function called jump to section. So we play the montage, we jump to a certain section based on if we're aiming. So if we're aiming, we play the fire aim down sights portion of the montage. If we're not, we play the fire hip portion. So because we have nothing, we're just simply going to play the animation and leave it. We're not going to do anything else. So let's set that up. So we now have our animation montage. I'm going to save it. I want each weapon to have its own actual montage that the arms will play for certain actions. So for example, the weapon base, in here, I want to create one that all classes can derive from for certain animations, like shooting. So let's go to under reload animation. Well, actually, under the fire animation, let's copy it and paste down another one. And let's give it a variable name of FPS arms fire montage. And the type is not going to be UAnimation asset. It's going to be UAnim montage, like so. Then from there, we need a getter function. So I wanted to create a new function. It's going to return UAnim montage. And let's call it get, let's see, get fire anim montage, like so. And we're going to try to, hopefully, I got to get this right in my head later on, set this up so we can get it based on if we're the local player or not. So if we are the local player, we will return the first person arms montage. If we are not, then we will get the third person arms montage and play that one instead. So that way everything works kind of accordingly. So let's see. I'm not going to worry about that for now. Let's go ahead and create the get fire animation montage. So let's copy FPS arms fire montage, go to weapon-base.cpp, and we're simply going to return the FPS arms fire montage. Now there is an include for this, which is the animation instance. So in our Nazi zombie character.cpp, we need to include the animation instance.h. So that is animation / anim instance. And same thing in our weapon base. We're going to include animation anim instance.h. Okay, so our get fire montage, which is a public function, returns our FPS arms fire montage. Now we need to set it up to play. So in our Nazi zombie character, in our fire, what we're going to do is, let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm going to have to make some changes to actually see if it actually fired properly, but that will be done with later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and outright actually play it. What we're going to do is we're going to get a reference to our montage. So it's going to be U animation montage, fire montage equals current weapon get fire anim montage. I'm going to wrap this in an if statement actually, like so. We're going to actually play it. So we have our montage, we need to get our animation instance. So if we follow through with how we had it set up before, we get our animation instance, check if it's valid. If it's valid, we play the actual montage. So the animation instance allows us to kind of choose which animation montage we want to play, such as a shooting montage or a reloading montage and that kind of stuff. So we need to get the animation instance. So if U animation or anim instance equals, and we need to get the mesh. So mesh first person anim. So it's get anim instance. So get anim instance like so. So if we get our animation instance and it's valid, we can then get our fire montage, make sure that's valid, and then play it. So anim instance play, I think it's just montage underscore play. Then it asks for a montage to play, which is fire montage. Then the play rate, which is by default 1, which we're going to leave it as that. Oh, yeah, montage play. I'm just confirming it. So we are good to go. With any luck, we will play the animation montage. So I'm going to go ahead and print it out. Playing fire anim montage and compile. So that way we can test it. Go ahead and close down the editor and wait for the recompile. Alrighty. Let's go to our blueprint classes, usables. Wait, no. What's it under? Weapons. So open up our 1911 blueprint. The FPS arms fire montage is going to be our AM underscore arms 1911. File and save. And let's see if the log gets printed out. So playing fire anim montage, but we don't exactly see it. So let's open up our montage and tinker around with some settings. Most importantly, the blend in and blend out. So the blend time, we'll change that to 0.01 for both the blend in and blend out. Save it, give it another try. Still nothing, however, it still is suggesting that it's playing. So let's see here. I believe I'm missing something very simple. The time it takes to blend in and the time it takes to blend out. We never set up it's in the animation blueprint. So we never set up the actual arms. Well, not the arms, but in the animation blueprint, go to the animation graph, there's nothing telling it about the animation montage. So if we go back to the first person, the default animation blueprint, go to the animation graph, we'll see this slot arms. Well, this is the animation montage. So what we're going to do is FPS arms, right click, search for slot, see slot, default slot. Connect the source to the output and look. As you can see, granted it's snapping between it because I don't have a firing from the hip animation. But if I aim, we now have our shooting and everything kind of about like before. But you can see it's very snappy. What I want to do to change that is, let's see, lower the blend time for the blend out, return that back to default. Let's look. It's still pretty snappy. So it's going to be our blend in. We're going to lower that some to 0. Let's choose 0.1 and see what that looks like. It lowered a good bit, so let's compromise at 0.05. Now when I spam click, it's a lot faster. Well, it's a lot smoother. As well as we can add a kind of a delay between shots on top of that. But we now have our actual animation and stuff firing. What we can do now is also play the animation that we have set, which is our fire animation for our 1911. So at the top here, I'm just going to do animation. So if fire animation, I'm going to do weapon mesh, play animation, fire animation. Set bool looping, set that to false because we only want it to play once. And compile. And this should play our fire animation. Go ahead and shut down the editor and relaunch it. And let's check. So you can now see, kind of hard to tell because of the animation portion playing, so I'm in the wrong section. I want to simply ignore this for now and look at the animation. So you can see the actual animation, everything is playing. When we fire, and if we combine that up, oops, we have our entire animation for the weapon, as well as the arms playing on top of that. So if I shoot, well, let me just get on the other side so I don't have zombies kind of in my way. the recoil, it kind of affects everything. So I can aim precisely at that corner. You can see the line trace goes into the corner. I do a quick pop pop. First shot hit the corner. Second shot went nearly, well, above the wall. So that's kind of what I want. I want the weapon, the recoil, sway, and all that kind of stuff to affect kind of how, well, where your shot placement actually, well, your shot actually lands. So we have a very basic setup for just our playing our aim down sights animation as well as our firing animation. Again, this will all be probably completely overhauled when we truly start like going in deep on the weapons, because I think I'm at a kind of a stopping point here for now on the weapons, as I want to continue with some other things that are more, we'll just get the basics of them in. So I think up next, we're probably going to start replicating some important things such as the points and have the score, that little score, or not the score, the points little display at the bottom right, set that up so it's both shown and replicated. So I think that'll probably be next. So I will see you in the next one.